Hello again, everyone. Ambassador Terry here with another What Are You Doing interview. And my guest this week is Heather Powers. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Terry. Really appreciate you making time for me to be on.
Well, you're interesting. You got a lot of stuff on your profile on LinkedIn, and I want to know more. And I'll bet you, ladies and gentlemen, want to know this answer. Heather Powers, what are you doing?
Well, thank you. Doing several things right now. As my site says, working mom. So I have two teenagers and they keep us quite busy. I also have been a management consultant for the last, 25 years, always serving the government. Really grew up with a public service mindset. And as I went into consulting, which is always been a passion of mine, and I love working with people and making things a little bit better than where I found them. I also really enjoy the people aspect of that. So I have been building teams and leading teams and working with people for a couple decades now. In the last 10 years, have been doing more around individual coaching and how to help people level up to their next level. And then over the pandemic, like many of us, had a few minutes to think about what do I want to keep doing? So still consulting, still working with the government, but also went back and got my coaching certificate. So that was really fun this year. And just, again, learning, being back in an academic environment, which it's been a few decades for me since I've done that. But really enjoying working with one-on-one or small groups to really think about what their next step is, or maybe just level up in their current role. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's great. You're doing a lot of different things that are, you're a working mom and you've worked your way through that. Perhaps you can expand from your perspective. What some neat little tips for the working moms that are listening to this?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's important. One of the things I definitely noticed, certainly in the pandemic and then coming out of it, was it's not easy, right? I focus on working moms. It's as relevant for working dads and really any caregivers. It's not easy balancing a professional role and also any sort of home responsibilities. I was really fortunate in my career to have a lot of advocates, mentors, sponsors who were 5 to 10 years ahead of me in this motherhood journey, and try to pay it forward to colleagues and friends who similarly have kids a bit younger than mine, and pass on tips and tricks rather that worked for me, or things that I learned along the way, sometimes painfully, sometimes not so painfully. And I really think that we're at a pivotal moment where the supports I had in place aren't there. Childcare is an obvious one. We're not back to pre-pandemic levels as far as access to childcare. And certainly, even if you can find it, affordability is another challenge. So how do we help moms, parents figure out what the right balance is? Too many of us have made the choice to either step back in our career or even exit a professional role to balance our family responsibilities. And that's something that again, even if it's just a tip or trick that I can share on LinkedIn or in a conversation, happy to do that. But I also really want to spend time on the systemic issues that we're dealing with.
Wonderful, wonderful. You speak of on the hashtag of women in leadership. Can you expand on that role? Now, it may sound like I'm really pushing for women. I am. 97% of my clients are women. Okay,
Wonderful.
so I get that.
Yeah.
So maybe you can expand on that, because that's an ever-present situation for a lot of women.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. I know personally, and then working with some of the colleagues, friends, and others that I've worked with over the years, women can tend to self-select to not go for that next level, or to just say, hey, my plate's full, right? Taking on a leadership role is just not in the cards at the moment, right? It'll, after the kids get to school, or after the kids are, whatever their next phase is, where they think it's easier. It's important, right? I think any organization benefits from having women in leadership roles. we tend to think differently. Not to say that men aren't also collaborative and team-oriented, but studies find that women tend to bring that more to the leadership roles. So I think it's very important to do it, and I think we as women need to step back and say, I can do that. And it might take a little more coaching, it might take a little more mentoring, but also recognize that it's not something additionally on the plate. We're taking something off the plate usually.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, another great interview. Thanks for stopping, Heather, and thank you for listening. Let's talk thought leadership today.